Welcome to Fire Breathing Kittens, an actual play podcast. Every episode is a unique adventure with a beginning, middle, and end. Each episode's microplot may fit into the overarching macroplot of the whole season, but they're all independent of each other, so you can listen to them in any order and skip the ones you don't enjoy. Today's game, we'll be using mechanics from Cascade Effect. This is a game that's currently in development. If you'd like to try it out, you can go to cascade-effect.com, or you can find it on itch.io or drivethrurpg.com. Today, we are going to be joined by our friends, Bartholomew, Salvador.
Greetings, I am Bartholomew, a renowned poet. I'm a 6'2" human man with auburn hair, white skin, and blue eyes. I'm a cavalier marksman wearing a green regimental coat with beige facings, beige breeches, and a black tricorn hat. In this system, there are many different traits known as metabolisms. My highest metabolisms are fight and far, and you'll see in this system we combine one combination of two of these metabolisms, and fight and far are used for, well, fighting, of course. It's in the name. And far is for at a long range. So I have my trusty musket, and that's very useful, the combination with, using a musket at range. And I also have flight, focus, and self at 4 points each, which are all different metabolisms that'll be used for different things, such as running, trying to maintain your mind on certain things, and, well, self is focused on the self, close up, close to yourself. And then my lowest one would be near, which is a bit between far away and right on top of you. We're talking maybe a few meters ahead to about 10 meters ahead, around your immediate area, but not right up on you. And that is my lowest one at 1.
Thank you for that breakdown, Bartholomew. Next, we have Fennis Lightwall.
Hello, everyone. I am Fennis Lightwall. I'm a fairly tall, striking 5'9". I am a half-fae, which means I don't weigh very much for my height. I'm about 115 pounds, have like this muddy green hair pulled back into a sort of ponytail, but it's always a little messy. You know how hair is. I wear this very comfortable sweater vest-esque thing along with a very nice like half-shoulder cape. It makes me look very distinguished. I have, for my traits, I have focus at 5, which is both in expected ranges for myself, I would hope. 4 for flight, and 3 for fight. Mainly just because I'm not so good in a direct fist fight. For hidden body, I have 1 in far, 2 in near, and 1 in self.
Excellent. And last but not least, we have Sadie Duca.
Hey, I'm definitely Sadie Duca. That's me, the Macrotus elf with the ears as wide as the horizon and hair as white as snow. I'm looking good today. I have a fight of 4, a flight of 5, and a focus of 4. My traits include dissociation resistance, resourcefulness, and deep awareness. I can kind of see things that aren't there sometimes. Speaking of, I have a bird on my shoulder that sparkles with electric static shock. And your vocab words for today are hi is to go, like hi you to this place. Anon is soon, beseech is ask for, belike is with certainty, brute is to spread rumors, cozen is lie to, kappa p is from head to toe, fardle means you're a burden, haply is accidentally, and hugger mugger means you're acting stealthily.
I wouldn't have guessed that for the last one. No, I just wouldn't have guessed Huggamugger was like acting stealthily.
I know, all of these words are a foreign language to me. So the story is, I don't understand Shakespeare. And this character is my vocab study. of Shakespeare. It's that simple. I'll learn 10 words a session. And so will you.
All right. Awesome. So, listeners, if you haven't gathered already, this system is a little different when it comes to stats. There are two metabolisms or two classes of stats in this game. You have physical metabolism and hidden metabolism. Physical metabolism is all the stuff that we physically do with our bodies. And hidden metabolism is, you can kind of think of it as like in the astral projection kind of class of stuff. It's a little hard for me personally to put into words. But basically, our players and characters will be able to utilize both of these skills or classes of skills to use in their adventure today. So let's go hop in and get started. So we're actually going to start in the Fire-Breathing Kittens Guildhall. For mechanical purposes, you guys don't have access to your hidden metabolism yet. But it's a regular day. There are a couple of job postings on the board, but they're getting snatched up pretty quickly. What are you guys doing right now?
Bartholomew is drinking his coffee and sees that there are plenty of jobs in the jobs boards and they're flying off like hotcakes. Well, if I have any chance of going on another job to perhaps find more clues as to ending the curse at Summerfell, I'll need to snatch one up quickly. So I stand up and go to the jobs board to see what there is. Oh, excuse me, pardon me. I need to make my way through. Oh, I've never met you before. Who are you? Asked the half-fae fellow with green hair.
Oh, yes, hello. Sorry, I was lost in thought for a moment there. You know how it is, I'm sure. You look like an intellectual fellow, I assume. I hope, unless you don't want to be seen as intellectual, then I apologize. I am Fennis Lightwall. Did I say that? I believe I said that. No, I didn't. So, I am... What was your question?
Oh, I'm here looking for a job, and they're flying off like hotcakes. I see you just standing here. You seem like a newbie. I believe you just come here and take a job. Let's look for one together.
Oh, yes, that would be great fun. I've already made a new friend. I'm quite good at this.
Yes, nice to meet you. I'm meeting plenty of friends here as well. I'll stretch my hand to shake yours.
And Fennis stretches out his arm completely in one of the most awkward handshakes that anyone has ever witnessed.
He grabs your hand, shakes it firmly, and reaches into his back pocket and pulls out what appears to be a pamphlet. Here, this is The Inspirer. You might want to take a look. I've written it myself, and there's a crossword puzzle on the back.
Oh, wow, this is nice paper. What is this made out of?
Well, the finest parchment. I've actually gotten some special parchment that looks very old and used from one of our dear fire-breathing kittens, Sadie. She might be around here somewhere. Here, there she is. Sadie, hello.
I'm walking away from the jobs board with, GM, how many flyers in my hand?
3.
3. And I'm like, belike, for me to not be a fartle, I shall happily meet upon some friends and anon head towards a quest. Friends, I see 3 of you and there are 3 job flyers. Let us read these together. In the GM's voice, I read.
So the first 2 are pretty mundane and don't offer that much of a reward. It's like, help, my cat has once again gotten stuck in a tree. This is like the 74th time this year so far. Please help me. And then there's another one that says they need help cutting grass.
Cutting grass sounds fun.
And then the last one is definitely more of an official quest sort of thing. So it says specifically, please help the city, please help the town of Mishui. There have been strange occurrences in the past couple of weeks that have led to memory loss and some people falling into comas. We know that this is magical and strange, but we don't know what's causing it. Please help us fix this. And it doesn't specifically say, like, please help us fire-breathing kittens. It seems to just be addressed generally to anyone who will help.
Well, I've never cut grass before.
I have. I've done a number of odd jobs in the past to make a little bit of money. Although there was one case working with someone else who was also cutting some grass. He almost mistook my hair for part of the grass. That was an interesting interaction.
I can imagine, yes. A cat stuck in a tree, should we? I believe that's a bit beneath our pay grade.
Well, I quite like cats. I wouldn't want to leave some poor cat stuck in a tree. How long has this cat been in the tree that they would post this on the board and just wait? Do they just watch the cat sit in the tree for hours on end? That seems a little cruel, actually.
Yes, and I do believe the cat would be able to get itself out of the tree just fine. You've never seen cat skeletons in the trees, have you?
Well, I would quite like not to.
Yes, so I think this one is a pass. This third one is quite intriguing. Memory loss. I too have dealt with memory loss myself. The tricky thing is you don't know what you've lost because, well, you lost the memory. So
I don't recall ever losing memories. My memory is quite sharp.
That's the first sign of memory loss. You don't remember.
I think I would remember if I forgot something. Probably.
Quite. Yes. Well, I believe it's decided. I would love to help this town of Mishui. I'd love to help this Mishui. Still can't get it right. I'd love to help this town that I can't pronounce and help them regain whatever memories they've lost.
Imagine you're ice skating down a road, hie you to ice skating, but like with certainty you are having fun. You say meh, and then you say shui as you go down the ice skating road. Shui, shui.
Amazing, Sadie. You seem very inspired since we first met. I remember you being very like a timid mouse, and now you've opened up into something much more beautiful. I do say I believe you've taken quite a lot in after reading my pamphlet, The Inspirer.
Yes, it was the pamphlet. It changed me Kappa-Pie.
Bartholomew's a little taken back by that word he's never heard of before. He's adding it to his own vocabulary. She's quite
Fennis is
old.
Also doing so.
She's quite old and wise. After she's opened up, she's actually quite inspiring herself.
Learning is an infinitely building experience, after all.
I won't cozen to you. It does matter to me how much this pays. So, Mishui, how much are they paying us to risk memory loss?
They're paying you $1,000 each, and also offering a all expenses paid like week-long vacation. Mishui is like a mountain town, like a very popular vacation destination. It's small in terms of the number of people who live there, but it's a beautiful mountain locale with old growth forests and really pleasant temperate weather. It's really hard to find a time to stay there and visit, especially in the fall when all the leaves are changing colors. So you guys could potentially have a very nice free vacation along with a pretty good pay.
A vacation? I don't believe I've ever had a vacation, actually.
Same here, probably. Let's do this one.
Wow, that was a very non-suspicious statement.
Awesome. So you all get onto the nearest train and then carriage to go to Mishui. It's a very pleasant ride. People are chatting and the weather is very pleasant. And when you finally arrive at the gates to the town, you can actually see that there is a barricade put up. The carriage just drops you off in front and then immediately takes off. There is a strange feeling of both abandonment and ghostly presence.
Don't mind me. I'm just going to add a label, and I take a piece of paper and some string. I tie it around my ankle. I write Sadie, Duca, and my address.
Smart move.
Why would you be doing that, Sadie?
I want to return what's borrowed to where it belongs, just in case I am irresponsible with it.
It makes perfect sense to me. I always label everything I own. Fennis lifts up his cloak to show his name written on the inside. It quite helps with misplacing things, except if I can't find it.
Interesting. I understand, but this feeling I'm getting, I've felt it before. It was with you, Sadie. Do you remember that one adventure we went on in that corridor? Where it was a corridor of our memories, I believe.
Yes. But I wouldn't want to brute. I won't cozen to you. I'm excited about what's in this town. Let's go. And I run towards the barrier.
Sadie, as you run towards the barrier, you start to feel a little nauseous. And then the closer you get to the gate, it's like a wave of nausea just washes over you. As you keep walking forward, if you do, you start to get lightheaded. And Fennis and Bartholomew, you see Sadie stumble and then fall to her knees.
It's all right, Sadie. It happens occasionally. You just got to keep yourself settled for a bit. Sometimes the vertigo just hits you.
I check on my lightning bird.
It's a little hazy. It's hard to see. It's like your eyesight's going in and out, but your bird is still there and it looks a little concerned. And eventually, Sadie, it's almost like you black out, but you're still very much aware of what's going on.
Bird, peck me. Peck me.
There's a jolt of electricity that goes through you as your bird pecks you. And it's like you wake up, but at the same time, something has been expelled from you and then sucked back in.
I look at my hands.
It's almost like you're seeing double vision. You see your physical hands, but now you also see this aura around it, a blue aura. And when you move your hand back and forth, this aura follows you almost like it's moving light.
I mean, I'm pretty fond of this body, so I'm going to back away from the gate.
You still see it, but nothing else seems to have changed. And mechanically, you now have access to your hidden metabolism.
I walk up to you guys and I'm waving my hand in front of my face, looking at my hands, when someone's guilty and they've committed murder and they're like, my hands. I'm like, y'all see the blue after image? I shake my hand left. I shake my hand right. There.
Can we, GM? Can we see the blue?
You guys, I don't believe, have approached the barricade yet, so no, you don't see it.
Allow me to get a closer look. And Bartholomew steps forward.
So does this mean, just so I understand, does this mean that Sadie's body is lying on the ground and her spirit came out?
No.
Or did I miss something?
It's Sadie in her body. She just she just seems to be very captivated with her hand for some reason.
Left, right.
Yes, the human body is very fascinating. Sometimes I just look at my hands and then I realize several days have gone by.
So, Bartholomew, as you approach the barrier, you also get hit with that intense wave of nausea.
I realize why you stumbled there. Now, this is not a good feeling.
And as you continue getting a little bit closer and closer, you also end up getting that vision in and out. The blackness makes you lightheaded. And for a moment, you're in complete darkness, but you are fully conscious. And then you feel like your eyes snap open, but you don't actually see anything. It's still black.
Are we in this dark corridor again, Sadie? Where are you? Well, you're there, but I don't see. This is
Open
very
your
strange.
eyes, not just your pineal gland.
Pineal what?
Open your physical eyes.
Bartholomew reaches for his face and tries to find his eyes to physically open them. He's confused at what Sadie is referring to.
You're you're struggling to open your eyes, and you feel your fingers touch your eyelids and pull them open. And as they do so, it's almost like the sensation of pulling your eyelids back is like taking off a mask. And suddenly light rushes in and you see everything again, and you see yourself. But as you're looking at your body, you see a red aura around your hands now.
What? Am I bleeding? What is... Wait, no. And then you see Bartholomew also moving his hands around in front of his face. Same as Sadie is like, this is a very weird experience.
So as of this moment, Fennis still has no context for all of this.
Correct.
Well, these adventures go quite a different way than I had expected them to go. Does it usually devolve this quickly? But Fennis, not wanting to be left out, also approaches.
Okay. Again, that wave of nausea hits you. And then as you get closer, you get lightheaded. Your vision starts to go in and out. And there is a darkness that covers your eyes that you are fully conscious in. And you try and open your eyes. You feel like you open your eyes, but you still see that blackness.
Did I forget to sleep again last night? I guess I try to pull whatever it is blocking my sight out of the way.
So much like Bartholomew, you pull, kind of like wiping at your face, and you have the sensation of a veil falling away. And you see your surroundings just like they were, but now you look at your hands and you see a green aura.
I always knew it. I really am green. On the inside, anyway. That fey blood, I assume. What is this exactly?
Can we see each other's auras?
Yes, now you all can see each other's auras. It's not very large. It's kind of more like an outline for all of you. Mm-hmm. But very distinctly, Sadie has blue outline, Bartholomew has a red outline, and Fennis has a green outline.
Well, this is quite interesting. I can't remember the last time something this out of the ordinary happened to me. Well, actually, now that I think about it, there was that one time. Just out of curiosity, have either of you ever heard of Marthan Crisa crystals?
I can't say I have.
No, I don't know much about crystals.
Bartholomew is taken aback by that. Sadie, what do you mean you know nothing about crystals? You give me what you share your crystals on every one of your adventures with me.
Yes, I know so much about crystals. I can tell you all about these Martian invader crystals. Yes. So they're from Mars and they look like quartz crystals. I got a lot of them at home, but I didn't bring them.
Ah, I see.
Oh, wow, that's very interesting. I thought I knew something about them, but that is completely different to how I knew them. It appears I need to update my knowledge by quite a bit. How very vexing.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just listeners, go listen to past episodes with Sadie in them. Oh my gosh, this will pay off.
Sadie is a menace.
I go for the long joke, not the quick joke or the good joke.
That was good. That was real. That got me.
So as you guys are, checking out this new aura that each of you has, you notice that beyond the barricade in the town of Mishui, there's also an aura. There seems to be a general... It kind of goes from white to black, usually in shades of gray, all around the town. And it kind of seeps from the walls, from the trees. that you can see. You don't see any people yet, but there's definitely that same kind of aura you have in the town.
Now, I'll admit that my knowledge on auras is quite limited, but if a town has an aura, does that mean that the town is alive?
Yes, it has a name, right? So it's a person. It has a bank account. So, I mean, it has a birthday. Yes, towns are people.
Fennis turns to the town. Hello, what is your name? My name is Fennis Lightwall.
Sadie points to the sign that says Mishui.
Fennis, you call out and your voice rings out amongst the trees. And after a few moments, you actually see somebody approach the barricade. It is a human man, looks to be in about his 50s. He's 5'7". He has gray hair and dark skin and brown eyes. And he's currently wearing a long sleeve button-up dress shirt of a very crisp white color and very crisp khaki pants. He comes out and says, Don't tell me that that's who I think it is.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this perhaps a familiar face?
It is. This is your old teaching companion, Ren Hirsch.
Oh, Ren! Oh, my old friend! Oh, it's been some time. How are you doing, old friend?
Well, I was doing better before you showed up.
You and your jokes, you're the same as ever.
Huh. Yeah. Jokes. What are you doing here, Fennis?
Well, me and my companions are on an adventure of sorts. We walked at a wall, and now we're glowing, and the town is alive, and I have yet to hear a response, but supposedly their name is Mishui.
Fennis, this is a town. It's not a person.
But like, really or legally?
Both. Who are you?
Greetings! I congratulate you. I am Sadie Duca.
I've just met her.
Wow, you have not changed at all.
Oh, thank you.
Wasn't a compliment. Okay, great. Hi, Sadie. And you with the hat?
It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Bartholomew Salvador, renowned poet and member of the Fire-Breathing Kittens. Here's my pamphlet. It is named The Inspire. It has a crossword puzzle on the back. And I hand him my pamphlet.
I've just met him as well.
Ren puts his hands into his pockets and just stares at Fennis, completely ignoring the pamphlet you're holding out, Bartholomew. And he says to you, Fennis, birds of a feather, I swear.
Oh, don't be mated. There's a voice and a fleshment for all.
Mated and fleshment. What?
Hi to Mishui. And I head into the town.
Perhaps we should ask the town for permission before we walk inside. Perhaps that's uncomfortable for a town.
Join us, Ren. Show us where to go.
Yes, join us. Oh, it would be great fun.
Should we hugger mugger?
Look, what if I'll just lead you into town and then you can leave me alone. How does that sound?
Sounds like a plan, buddy.
I'm not. Okay. I'm not your buddy pal. And he walks into the town. You guys can see that there are some sparse people around. There definitely seems to be an atmosphere of strange abandonment like before, but there are clearly people here and this place is inhabited. It's more of like the people who live here seem kind of lost. There are people in trances or people like walking around. You see a lot of other people like waving their hands in different like body parts and trying to do weird moves and stuff. But then you also see through open doors to homes and such that there are doctors going and visiting. There are people lying on makeshift beds and couches who are in comas. And so as Ren is leading you to the center of town, he explains, So I only just recently got here to check out what's going on. But it seems like there's some strange spell cast here that's making people see things. And if they're not seeing things, they're just falling down unconscious. And if they're not falling down unconscious, but they're also not seeing things, then they're just kind of wandering in this weird memory lapse. It's kind of disturbing, honestly.
Yes, it sounds quite disturbing. Did something get in their food, perhaps?
Honestly, I haven't really been able to get that far. People are pretty reticent to talk to any outsiders.
Fennis immediately walks up to one of them. Hello, I'm Fennis Lightwall. How are you doing?
One of the people you see, and the one you walk up to, is a 7-foot-tall half-orc. He seems to be wearing some khaki shorts and a button-up green shirt with a wide-brimmed khaki hat and hiking boots. He's crossing his arms outside of a home where you can hear somebody crying. And he says, "Who are you? The town's not open for visitors right now. We're kind of going through a crisis."
Oh, I apologize. I did ask for permission first, but Mishui did not give me permission in time, and I honestly needed to come in and investigate, and I don't wish to impose or anything, but we have important business, I think.
You're here because the Tavistocks... Oh, you must be here to actually help figure out what's going on. I'm so sorry. It's just been such a hard time being here right now. My name's Barry. I'm local here. I know most of the people. Any help I can give, it's yours. Who are you with, by the way?
Oh, yes, of course. These are my two companions. We're members of the fire-breathing kittens, as I suppose you know. Did you say that you knew that? I'm sorry. I know that I heard you say that you knew something about. These are my friends.
And you said you're from where? I'm sorry. I got lost in your rambling.
Yes, the fire-breathing kittens. They're
fire-breathing
quite
kittens.
A great group.
Okay. All four of you are fire-breathing kittens?
Yes, the bird, the human, me, the elf, and this green-haired one.
Oh, I was talking
and
about...
perhaps Ren, if he's interested.
To which Ren says, "No, I'm already spoken for."
She's a lucky lady, I assume.
That's not what
I love your relationship.
Anyway, I'm with a different organization. I just happened to see these people at the gate. And Barry says, "All right, well, I mean, if you're all here to help, then I suppose that's all we need. Well, the town is free for you all to explore. Definitely be sensitive if you're asking people anything. I'm here, ask me anything you want, but yeah, it's just we've been trying for a couple weeks now to figure out what's going on and just haven't found anything."
Have you checked the wheat?
Oh, you mean like food and water sources?
Yes. Sometimes the wheat, it has like a black, ergot-y sort of coloration to it. And that can really mess with people.
Well, yes, actually. The first thing we checked was their food sources and water sources, especially given what happened with the River Emu a little bit ago. That was one of the first things we thought of. But it's not that. All of the water and food is coming back relatively pure.
What happens when you take a person and you remove them from Mishui? Do they get better out there?
No, not that we've seen. Although, I guess we haven't really taken them too far beyond the gate. Maybe only a couple meters.
Can I borrow you?
Sure, I guess.
Okay, I left something at home, and I'd just like you and me and all three of us to go get it, and we can come right back.
Okay, I can definitely see what you're trying to... I don't want to go too far. I still want to stay here and help people out, but I'm happy to test the boundaries of this.
Let's get a rolling cart and a person in a coma and just start walking.
So
Wow, that seems very morally ambiguous, I believe is the correct term.
Ren just mutters under his breath, ambiguous.
Don't worry, I believe I pronounced it correctly.
My theory is we put the person in the cart, we hi to Jishop, and anon they will wake up again. If this is a magical cause, they should wake up based on distance. If it's food, then with time.
So Barry goes in and into the house where someone's crying. You can hear some soft, muffled conversation. And he comes out with an older gentleman, definitely, maybe in his 80s. And actually, like, physically carries him and follows you guys out of town. As you get about a mile away, the old man starts to wake up.
Breathe in the fresh air under the welkin. See how clear and blue it is. How do you feel, old man?
Also, how many fingers am I holding up?
Is that...
Fennis can't decide exactly how many fingers to hold up.
You've got that green after image. You're like,
4, 3. Oh, Barry, where are we? Where am I? Oh, don't worry. We're just a little bit outside of Mishui. Oh, well, I was having the most interesting dream.
Oh, could you describe that dream to us?
Well, I was sitting around with all sorts of the local townspeople, and we were all just sipping tea together and going on hikes. I felt so young, like I had a new body and could do all the things I used to do.
Sadie and Fennis, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Yes, I believe so.
that perhaps this marbled dream was better than reality?
No, but, well, yes, but what I was thinking, well, I do agree with what you said, yes, does sound a lot better than reality. That's a good point. But what I was thinking was that perhaps everyone else as dreaming is having the same dreaming, sharing it together. Let's test this with another one of the townsfolk.
Yes, we shall return the elderly to the town with the message in the dream. Let us know which of you wants to wake up, and then we'll take you back out of the town and get a head count.
Yes. Sounds good. I'm, where's Ren going? I'm going wherever Ren is going.
Ren stayed a little bit of ways just in case something bad happened, but he's still hanging around, hands in his pockets, just definitely trying to look anywhere but at you, Fennis.
You know, Ren, if you need something.
Fennis is waving happily.
Hi. I'm so upset that doesn't translate into a podcast audio format because that was just too good.
Adorable.
You know, my good friend Ren, I see you're trying to distract yourself. He looks over, sees his friend, and I understand. Please, I don't mean to be rude, but you might find something that would inspire you. And he tries to get to the pamphlet again. I assure you, it's a good read. I insist.
He glowers at you, Bartholomew, hands still deep in pockets, and he says, "No."
Understood. I see.
I
By
walk
the
up to
way,
Bartholomew real quick and just go, "Don't worry about him. He always comes around. He comes off a bit sour, but he's got the purest heart in the world once you get down to it. Isn't that right?" Listen to that purr, just like a kitten he is.
I was going to ask GM, while we're out of town, do we still have the auras? And do we also see auras on Barry, the old man, or any on Ren? I was going to ask. Any auras?
So you don't see any auras around you guys anymore. So that seems to have faded at the mile mark as well. As you get closer returning back to town, the old man falls back into his coma. Barry makes sure he's comfortable. And you can start to see that Barry and Ren do have auras. Ren's is very, very, it's almost like it's so translucent that you almost can't see it, but it's definitely there. It's a very interesting aura. With Barry, it looks a little more like stainless steel that's got a little bit of like oil marks in it.
Oh, yes. Actually, something I wanted to check real quick. Excuse me. And he turns to Barry. What does this do for you? And he waves his hand in front of his eyes very quickly. Do you see anything?
Yes, I see 2 hands. One of them is green.
Oh, so you do see it.
Yes.
Great.
Everyone who isn't awake everyone who is awake and hasn't lost their memory all have a unique colored aura. It's something we've noticed. We're not entirely sure what it is or what it means, but we've all got it.
If I may ask, Ren, so everyone has an aura and then they lose it? And then they fall into a coma?
Are you asking Ren or are you asking Barry?
Well, he was speaking to Ren, so yes, I'm asking Ren now. Keeping the conversation going. So he was describing the auras. Or was that Barry that was answering?
I thought it was Barry.
Fennis turned to Barry.
Oh, I apologize. That would have been Barry then.
Okay. Yeah. Just wanted to make sure. I've got 2 very different attitudes for these 2 characters.
Yes.
The lovable old scamp.
Mm-hmm. So sorry, what was your question again, Bartholomew?
Yes. So Barry said that anyone that was in the town when they were awake, they had auras, and then when they went to a coma, they lost them. So I was asking if there was anything, or I was asking if they had auras. I think that was an assumption, but that's what I'm trying to discern, is if they. Mm-hmm.
Well, no, they actually never had auras to begin with. It's almost like when all of this happened, and it happened about 2 weeks ago, it's almost like everyone either fell unconscious, lost their memory, or gained this aura. And for everyone who's gone unconscious, they're still able to, it's like their bodies are healthy, but their minds just aren't there anymore. They don't respond, they don't wake up, but they will automatically eat food and drink water if we give it to them. It's really strange.
I've been there before.
Barry just looks at you with like a very concerned look, but then says, wait, if you've been there before, what was it that caused that? Maybe it could be similar.
Yes. The periodic table of elements. Fennis says nothing more.
Well, unfortunately, that's not very helpful, but I won't ask you to share if you don't want to.
You would know. And the days you can get lost in such a fascinating tabletop structure to a universe. It's almost as if the universe itself was built together from millions of little blocks. Fennis just starts rambling.
So you guys make it back to Mishui. What are you guys doing next?
Sadie, I have a question. Barry mentioned that it might be due to some. It sounds similar to something that happened. Wait, was that Barry that said it to Fennis, or was that Ren? Regardless, he mentioned that the sleepwalking, I believe, is what Fennis has gone through. What causes sleepwalking, or just moments of lapse where you fall unconscious and lose your memory and just wander around aimlessly, eating and drinking without thinking? What sort of things cause that? You're good with this sort of information. He asked Sadie, the person he's gone on adventures with many times and has grown together with. Totally the same Sadie, no one else.
Couldn't say, but I am curious who all wants to leave town. Do you want to take the old guy out again? Shall we peregrinate in the direction of Jishop?
I don't see why not.
Why are we taking the old man out again?
Oh yes, that's a good question. Why are we doing that?
To see if it's collective dreaming or individual. If he's got a head count for us of who all wants to leave the dream, we can take him out of the vicinity and talk to them. There's a bunch of people we're not able to talk to right now because they are asleep. Killing off like a third of our clues from the get-go. So old guy, cart, peregrinate towards Jishop. No. Y'all look real confused.
Are you asking for another old man or the same one?
Same one. I'm just gonna wheel him over here. Don't mind me.
I got what you're going for, Sadie. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Okay.
So
I wheel the old guy past the boundary.
yeah, so basically what it is that what Sadie is thinking is if they're in a collective dream, like the old man implied, then he will have been able to pass on a message, which is, hey, who wants to wake up? And then if you guys wheel him back out, he'll be able to tell you. And if it's not a collective dream, he'll just wake up and be like, what happened?
I see.
I see. Yes, I believe I understand.
So what ends up happening as you guys wheel him out, again, a mile outside of town, he wakes up and immediately says, oh, well, I never thought to actually look and try and talk to people as though they were still there. I thought it was all a figment of my imagination. But there were some other people who wanted to wake up and many others who didn't want to. If I'm being honest, I kind of don't want to either. It's a wonderful place in there where I can run again.
Now, this is just a suggestion, and there is quite a few things that I'm currently still processing, but could perhaps the temptation of the dream be a big part of the reason why they're being held there?
Let's ask them. I start writing down names. I have a feather pen and some lambskin.
So you got a few names around town. I will say none of these will be quote unquote named NPCs.
Yeah. Person 1, person 2.
Exactly.
Excuse me, person 1.
You do end up getting a list of names. It's about 20 names. And you should know that this is a town of at least a couple hundred people. So of the half of that population that's in a coma, and then the other half is awake, but in varying stages of aura or memory lapse, only 20 of those people want to wake up. This seems to be a very intense desire to stay in this dream world.
All right. Stack them on the cart.
Hey, town vacation. Everyone's leaving.
Sorry, not that unconscious person. That one.
So you all wheel them out. They are thankful that you woke them up, and they elect somebody to just kind of hang out with them until things get sorted. Because they're like basically like a mile down the road, and all there is woods. Like there's nothing else they can do, but they don't want to go back into town, so they're just kind of like sitting there and hanging out.
What can I say? But you're welcome.
I would offer lodgings at my own home, but it might be tight space between all these people. Plus my roommate might not be very receptive to that. She just had children.
Fennis,
she's a spider, by the way. It's important detail.
Your roommate is a spider?
Yes, I call her Miss Lancaster. Also, it's a shed. I sleep in a shed.
Well, I don't I don't see that as that out of the ordinary. I used to live at my town of Pine Drake in a cabin home with my mother and sister, but now I'm on an adventure and living out in the wilderness in my tent with my good horse Alistair. But I was going to ask, since these people in the town are going through disassociative experiences, and you even mentioned that you have gone through moments like that before. How did you end up in those situations where you're wandering aimlessly, just eating and drinking? What kind of activities caused that?
Sorry, was that to me or to Fennis?
Fennis.
Or to the people who just woke up?
Oh, that was to me.
Oh.
Yes, I apologize. Yes, this was to Fennis asking, do you recall what actions you took to just wander around like a zombie.
So, usually when it happens to me, it's just because I'm daydreaming, of course. It tends to happen when I'm on my own, occasionally around other people, and sometimes in times when my life would be better preserved by being present. But in most cases, I don't actually remember now that I think about it. Which is strange because usually I remember all the things I forget.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
Should we ask these 20 clues/people what their experience was as well?
Yes. Brilliant idea, Sadie.
So, as you go and talk to the people who have woken up, most of them don't know too much, but one of them, a woman probably in her 20s, a dwarf, says, "Well, I don't actually know if this is something pertinent, but I have a friend, her name's Kahona, her name's Kahono Estrada. She went to the big city over to Jishop to pursue a career, and she came back a couple weeks ago and brought some cool stuff for her family, and I don't want to say she's the one who did anything, but it was real short after she arrived back here that this weird stuff happened. Kahono's real sweet, and she's a real talented singer, and everyone loves her. But I just can't help but feel that, I don't know, maybe she picked up something in the big city that caused all this."
And she never mentioned anything in particular that she might have brought back? Or perhaps maybe someone that she met while she was in Giuseppe? Or Jishop?
Mishui? Jishop.
Jeshui?
Jishop.
Jeshop.
Dish soap.
Dish
soap.
Soap.
Dish
Soap.
soap.
So
Dish-soap.
do you know what she picked up in the town of Dish Soap?
Bartholomew is just touched by Sadie opening up and making these good friends. He's so proud of her.
Well, I mean, we were supposed to meet up after she went and saw her parents. She just said that she picked up something from, a pirate of all people, but thought it was real cool and she wanted to go show it to her parents. But she never told me much about it. We were going to go and grab a bite to eat and then catch up. But then all this happened and I haven't seen her since. She wasn't in the dream I was in, so I assume that she's awake, but I don't know.
Where are her parents right now? Are they here in town, you said?
Yeah, I didn't see them in the dream, so I assume they're in town. They've lived here almost their whole lives.
I see. Let us go to that house and see about that item and see if that's what's causing all this commotion.
Hi, to Kahono's parents.
Tally forth.
So Barry will go and lead you to the Estrada household. And in the home, you can see that there are two people, but they kind of seem to be a little confused. There's an older woman and an older man. One of them is kind of, so the older woman is just kind of puttering around, going about the motions of making tea and humming to herself. And the older man is sitting on the couch reading a book, except the book is upside down.
Oh dear.
I didn't know they printed books upside down.
Bartholomew slowly looks over in the direction of Fennis, just silently, realizing why Ren has a bit of distaste. He's not too bothered, but perchance maybe perturbed by how, well, I would say naive this Fennis character is.
Fennis looks back at Bartholomew and he notices him looking at him. He just goes, "Hi."
Hello. Yes. I don't believe they print books upside down. I believe this gentleman here is affected by this curse that plagues their town, and he is reading his books upside down because he is, well, cursed.
I see. Yes, that makes quite a bit of sense. I suppose more than upside down printed books. What was I thinking? Fennis is a little sad that he can't buy an upside-down printed book.
Oh. Bartholomew thinks to himself, I need to print an upside-down pamphlet so he may read.
Oh my god.
Hello. Good afternoon. You two, you fine couple. Can you hear me? Hello? He's waving his hand.
Yeah, they both turn to you, and there's a bit of a look of surprise, but then it's like immediately dulled, like their eyes go glassy, and the woman waves gently and says, "Well, hi there. I don't seem to recall your name. Have we met before?"
No, I am Bartholomew Salvador, member of the Fire-Breathing Kittens, here to handle a situation of dire circumstance here at your town.
Mom, I won't cozen ye. I'm Kahono. My face has changed, but can you give me back that thing I gave you recently?
Bartholomew's about to say something, then realizes really quickly, wow, Sadie has become very sharp in her time with the Fire-Breathing Kittens.
Oh, well, I don't know. I think as the GM, this is a good time to do a challenge. So we've been doing a lot of role play because this is more of a mystery session, but we'll go and roll up a challenge now. So a challenge is, like a skill check in other RPGs. We have to, the players have to use some of their metabolisms to see if they can pass this challenge. I'm going to say this woman has memory loss and you're posing as her daughter, but you very clearly don't look like her or her husband.
I'm an elf with white hair and wide ears.
So I'm going to place this at a difficulty of 6. That means this is something an expert could do very simply. So if you had, if an expert were to disguise themselves as Kahono, it could work, but you're going to have to put in a little bit more effort. So I'm putting it at a 6. And there are also complications in this game. They can be positive or negative. I'm going to say, well, I don't think this actually needs any complications. So we'll have to go and use that at a different time. So which metabolisms would you like to use for this challenge?
First, I would like to take my time. I can attempt to take time on a challenge to add or remove one complication. This represents taking things slowly and carefully. So I assume that daughters probably eat with their moms when they visit. So I'm going to drink tea with her because she's preparing tea. And over tea, I'm going to add the controlled positive complication. I can reliably bring my best efforts to this task. I may select a second metabolism to use in addition to my chosen pairing. Challenges are controlled when you can plan and choose how you approach it. So I'm going to choose 2 physical body things because of the controlled, right?
Yeah, you can do that.
Or maybe like a focus because I'm intently focusing, and then maybe like self and near. There we go. 2 hidden body ones. Okay, so focus, near, and self will get me to 6. And I'll describe how I'm doing those things.
Yes.
Okay. Focus is my ability to maintain attention and interpret situations so I don't burn myself on tea.
Okay. Okay. I see that.
Self is when I'm pushing my body to its limits, like maintaining my emotions, like when she tells me that my ears are too long. And I don't say, Mom, my ears are fine. I say, you're right.
How weird is that, right?
Near is my ability to understand connections in my immediate surroundings. So that's when I complain about my dad, which is this guy. And I'm like, he's always reading. And that is my interpretation of the Cascade Effect rules.
So as you're doing this, you sit down to tea. She's definitely still like, are you Kahono? But you go through the act and you're focusing on her. And you can see, and more effectively than you, Fennis and Bartholomew can see, your blue aura starts to extend a little bit. Because you're using your hidden metabolism, the aura seems to sweep over this woman, not in any like threatening way, but almost like washes over her, like a cleansing rain. And you see, as they continue to talk, her features soften. She begins to laugh and chuckle and, talk a little bit more freely. And you've successfully convinced her that you are Kahono. And she says, "Oh, well, it's so nice to have you back home, dear. It's been a while since your last visit. I worry about you and Jishop."
I'm a famous singer now, I think.
Well, you'll always be a famous singer here, sweetheart.
Aww.
Lovely home life.
So that thing I brought you, I forgot to put batteries in it. Or wait, no, I forgot to wind the mechanism. Do you mind if I look at it again?
Oh, you mean oh, what was it? I could have sworn you just showed it to us. Dear, do you remember where we put the thing? And the man looks up from his book and says, "No, I don't remember where we put... I know the thing you're talking about. I don't know where we put it." And so the woman turns back to you and says, "I'm so sorry, love. Are you sure you didn't leave it in your room somewhere? We might have left it in the town square, maybe. I'm sorry, I don't even quite remember what the thing is."
Well, it sounds like we should look in her room.
Yes, my room. That's right. These are fire-breathing kittens as they introduced themselves to you before. They're going to help me search. Thank you for the tea.
Oh, of course. Any friend of Kahono is a friend of ours. Please make yourselves at home. I'll go and brew more tea. And she kind of stands and she walks out of the extended aura that Sadie has. And her movements suddenly become a little sluggish again. Lethargic, glassy. She's back and doing the motions. Like her memory of this has completely gone away.
Bartholomew was about to say something and be like, "Oh, I'd like some tea," but then he sees her slump over and go into this melancholic state, and he's like, oh dear.
Don't worry, there's probably 10 teacups on the table full of tea.
I feel bad if I were to take something from this family, but good thinking, Sadie. Let's head up to that room.
Quite clever.
Oh, not Sadie. Kahono. Good thinking, Kahono.
Yeah, that's my stage name.
All right. So you guys head up to Kahono's room. If you'd like to search it, I'm going to say this is another challenge. I'm going to place it at a 4.
So I'm assuming we're all searching the room then?
You can, Fennis.
Yeah. And
Then
I'm going to say
so.
This will come with a controlled complication because you can choose how to approach it. So there's a positive for you there. Fennis, do you know which metabolism pairing you're going to use for this challenge?
Yes. Well, what I will do is I will use my focus metabolism, since I have to focus, which, when Fennis is applying himself, he is quite good at. Focus for the physical body, for the hidden body, he will be using near, just focusing on his immediate surroundings. I'm trying to figure out what specifically, anything out of the ordinary that catches his eye. And since it's controlled, he's also going to use flight, since he's very rapidly moving through this room, just looking at anything that catches his eye.
Okay, well, that will definitely be more than the difficulty number once we add all of those stats up. So you find an untouched room. It is strangely clean, like no one's been in here for a while. But you do see near the closet a small, more like a fine sprinkling of brass dust. And you open the closet and you see that inside, this dust is spread on all of the clothes, and there is a green tinge to it as well. Even though this room looks like nobody had been in here, there is very clearly something kept in the closet that left this brass and green residue.
So they're brass shavings that have like a green tinge to them?
Yeah, it's more of like brass shavings and then also shavings of something green. It's definitely like a metal or a mineral of some sort.
Bartholomew actually recalls this type of mineral. This appears to be copper. It's because I remember on the one adventure I was with, what was her name? It was Maeve. Yes, the fire genasi, yes. She showed me many different metals and burned them on her flaming skin to show that they glowed different colors. And I do remember she showed me copper. I do know that copper actually, it oxidizes, I believe is the term for that. Oxidizes green.
Yes.
So this appears to be copper.
That is definitely something that Fennis should know. Yes, I believe so. I've spent a lot of time with various metals, although admittedly it's a bit harder to tell exactly without any sort of professional science equipment. But oxidation, it usually happens over a long period of time, I believe. Is that correct, chemists?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oxidation usually, like to get the green patina that oxidized copper has, it takes some time for sure.
Are we talking weeks or months or years?
More like years.
Years.
At least as far as I know.
If we were to assume that these are remnants of the item she left behind, or perhaps it could even be the remnants of her, maybe? Maybe it's better to just assume the item. If it is the item, then something would have occurred to cause rapid aging? That seems a little out of theme. What do you two think?
I believe we need to look for an item made of copper.
Sounds like a plan.
Allow me to take a look in this closet here. I step inside. How small is this closet?
It's a walk-in closet.
Mm-hmm. But things are very close to me, I believe.
Yes.
I'd like to roll, or not roll. Roll is when I would like to spend the metabolism's focus and self on my, since it's all around me, very close to me, things I'd be looking in are right next to me. I'd be feeling around. I believe focus and self would make sense. And I would try to, I'm looking specifically for a copper object, so I'd like to have an advantage on looking for a copper item, now that we've discerned that there's copper dusting around, and perhaps that would be enough. What would that give me? Vantage would give me, it says it adds or removes a complication. Perhaps it'd be I'd make it controlled.
Yeah, I would set the difficulty number at 4 and definitely add controlled to it. So you wouldn't necessarily. So you can go ahead and add something.
I also like to add near to it.
Okay. So you go through the closet and you can see where Fennis's aura kind of already tracked the copper dusting. And you follow that trail and your own red aura starts to reach out, almost like there are feelers going out, trying to find any kind of copper item. And in the very back of the closet, hidden behind a bunch of shoe boxes and old clothes, you find a small bit of filigree. So filigree is very thinly made metal that is kind of it looks like string, and it's normally worked as decorative pieces for something. And so this piece of copper filigree is about the length of your finger, and it's very clearly snapped off. But you can see it has its own aura, and it's black, jet black.
This is rather disturbing. I've found the source of the copper, but it appears it snapped off of what looks to be an object, and this thing is emitting a dark, foreboding aura, jet black compared to our own. I'm afraid of even touching it. I wouldn't have touched it yet, but I would have seen. I don't know if I've touched it by accident but I am definitely a bit disturbed by this thing. I'd be careful not to touch it just yet.
Fennis is very interested.
All of a sudden, you hear a scream from outside of the house. And we're going to pause there for our break. Joining us for this portion was Bartholomew Salvador.
Bumping into things in the closet after hearing that scream. What's happening outside? We have to attend to it right away.
Fennis Lightwall.
Well, it sounds like adventures is brewing of some kind. However adventuring is brewed, it is being brewed now and quickly.
And Sadie Duca.
I wouldn't want to brew it, but it sounds like something's happening outside.
And then real quick, we have a kind reminder, suggestion, a bit of a play on our part.
We currently don't have any reviews. This is where we'd usually read our reviews, but if you leave one, we'll read it on air, and it'll sound something like this. CC the Pizza Girl comments, "My favorite character is Bartholomew, the sad, sad man." So leave us a review, and we'll say it in a very funny voice and laugh about it, and then you'll feel good about yourself for having put something up that us with our silly voices reads for you.
We love hearing from people about how the show has, been interesting or has made you happy or things like that. So please, we are more than happy to read your review out on air. But with that, we're going to cut for a break. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Today's mid-episode shout-out is from Eureka, who says, quote, "Eureka, Investigative Urban Fantasy by ANIM. An upcoming neo-noir investigation-focused tabletop role-playing game with a supernatural twist. Solve mysteries while hiding your vampirism or other monstrous nature from the other players. Download the free demo copy of Eureka, Investigative Urban Fantasy from itch.io. That's right, there's a free demo copy of Eureka on itch.io. It sounds really fun, like those secret role games. Hiding your vampirism or other monstrous nature from other players seems really cool. All right. You can arrange for us to read your shout-out at firebreathingkittenspodcast.com through our partnership with Buy Me a Coffee. We have book and audiobook adaptations of our adventures on Amazon and Audible. And lastly, we don't pay to advertise our show, so the only way we can grow is if you tell someone about us. Is there an episode that would make someone you know smile? Tell them about it. Thank you.
Welcome back to this episode of Fire Breathing Kittens. We are going to all roll a d6 to see who ends up giving our recap for the first part.
What do we need to roll, GM?
Yes, a d6.
We're just going to roll a random dice. I rolled a 5.
I rolled a 3.
4.
5 was the exact number.
Oh,
Bartholomew, do the honors.
Of course. So, we were at the Fire Breathing Kittens Guild Hall, and we decided on a grand adventure going to the town of... I have so many notes. Let me find where I wrote that name. Mishui? Yes. Or Mishui. The town of Mishui, and they are... the GM's doing funny things with their hand. No, we were going to the town of Mishui to help the townsfolk with some memory loss curse of some sort. So we head our way over there. And as we get there, we experience this disassociative experience where we begin to see an aura around each of us. Each of a different color. I'm not sure what the color represents, but we each have a different color. we enter the town and we meet Ren. I don't remember that fellow's last name.
Hirsch. Ren
Hirsch. Yes, you're a
very good friend.
Yes, Fennis is very good friend and buddy old pal. But it doesn't seem like
perhaps even best friend, maybe.
We'll have to ask Ren that. But yes, we met this Ren fellow. Didn't take my pamphlet, but that's another story. But met this Ren fellow talking about how this town is cursed, going through some sort of, well, mass dream. As we began to interrogate the townsfolk, there was an old man who said that they were going. We took that old man out of the town, and it broke the curse for a while. And we were able to talk with that old man. He said that they're all sharing the same dream, and most of them want to escape, but some are, or not most of them, all of them most of them want to stay. They want to actually stay there. There are a few that want to escape, but alas, they are all held there against their will until they are physically transported out of the town. It's very strange. And after speaking with the townsfolk, such as Barry, who gave us clues, we learned that there is a household belonging to the... I can't read my handwriting. I was so furiously writing these notes down. Estrada? The Estrada estate? Yes, I can read my own handwriting. Good. The Estrada estate, who the daughter of the kindly old couple that lived there, Cajono Estrada, had brought home some strange artifact that ever since they brought it home, the town began to become cursed under this memory loss where everyone wanders around, or they're in a coma, or they're going around doing things but they aren't aware of what they're doing. And after Sadie tricked the parents of this Cajono Estrada into believing she herself was Corona, we learned that the object was somewhere in the home, and we went upstairs to check Cajono's room, and we didn't find an object, but I was able to find some copper filament that emitted a strange and foreboding dark black aura. And then all of a sudden we heard a scream outside, and now I'm bumping my head into walls trying to get out as quickly as possible.
You all rush outside of the Estrada residence. The two Estradas apparently not having given any sign that they heard the scream. And you see Ren kind of looking very scared and cowering somewhat on the other side of the street. And you can see that Barry, who had been outside of the house waiting for you, has just collapsed onto the floor, and his aura is gone.
You know, I'm not a particular fan of carts due to something in the past, but I think this man needs one.
Oh, I just realized why.
Ren comes over and kind of like drags the cart just from a random house, drags it over, and even though he's older in his 50s, is able to like toss it over to you. And you can see that there's a little bit of his own aura just kind of follows it, almost like he was using part of his hidden metabolism to do that. And he says, "You guys can go ahead and put him on the cart, but I'm not getting near that guy."
What happened? We heard a scream. We came out. Is this man dead?
No, he's not dead, but he might as well be. I mean, he was the one that screamed. I didn't see where it came from, but all of a sudden there's this weird, like, it looked like cotton candy. This cotton candy tentacle just like came out and smacked him. I have no idea where it came from or what it was, but I'm freaked out, man.
Cotton candy tentacle. Could you tell us what color this tentacle was, if you can recall?
Cotton candy. It was like a pastel pink.
What flavor did it have?
Pink flavor.
I
would assume.
Taste it. What kind of
Why
idiot
not?
do you think I am, Fennis? You?
Well, I mean, go. There are certain immutable laws to the universe, Ren. You can't surely tell me that cotton candy was in front of you and you didn't try to eat it.
I didn't try to eat it. I wanted to get as far away from that thing as possible.
Did you see what direction it went?
It came from over there and just kind of like went back there. And he points across the town square over to a manor that's at like the very center of town.
Who lives there?
I mean, Barry was just talking about it, but apparently the Marquess and Marchioness of Mishui, I don't know, something Tavistock.
The Marquis and the Marquess of Mishui. Mishui. Interesting.
The family name is Tavistock, you say?
And that's what I thought I heard him say.
Well, I say we make our way to that manor of the Tavistocks, and I guess knock at the door, maybe introduce ourselves and see if it's the Tavistock residents or this cotton candy monster, and we'll deal with it as we see fit.
Yeah, of course. Well, we can ask them about it. Of course, we ask for permission, and, maybe, if we're polite, they'll let us have some of the candy.
Well, you guys can all go over there. I'm staying here.
Ren, there's no need to be afraid. We're all quite capable.
When it comes from you, Fennis, I don't really believe you. So I'm going to stay here where I know it's safe, and hopefully that thing gets you and you get to eat as much cotton candy as you'd like.
Oh, Red, you are too sweet. You are sweeter than cotton candy, my friend.
He goes over to Barry and just like starts dragging him into the Estrada home just to try and get him into a more comfortable place, and very loudly slams the door.
That was so good. Ooh. Well, I don't know about you, my fellow companions, but I say onward to adventure, and let's see about this cotton candy monster that is terrorizing the town, supposedly.
Okay, so you head over to the Tavistock Manor. The door is locked, and there seems to be drawn curtains on every window, giving the appearance that no one is in this building.
Huh. Another abandoned manor. Remind you of a previous adventure we've had, Sadie?
Nod.
Of course.
I remember.
Yes, you were there too. We had a lovely time.
Wait, what's... Memory doesn't serve me, and probably being affected by this town as we speak. We need to hurry! So, doors are locked, blinds are drawn, but I'm too polite.
Knock politely on the door. Excuse me. Is there anyone present? Perhaps a cotton candy machine of some kind? I don't mean to be a bother or anything. I'd just like to see it, or maybe, perhaps, if it has anything to do with the epidemic as well, that would also be very helpful.
We are smooth.
I mean, incredibly, like, there is no response. I'm sure you're quite flabbergasted by that, but no one seems to open the door or even open up a curtain.
Anon we shall hugger mugger, and belike enter the residence.
There must be some other alternate entrance. Perhaps some courtyard in the back? Perhaps some entrance from the rooftop? Or maybe a cellar entrance?
Perhaps they left a key under the mat.
Good thinking.
GM, can I use my bird?
Yeah, what would you like to do?
I want to do surveillance. I want to use my bird to find all the openings.
So we'll set up a challenge. I'll say this is a difficulty 6, and I thought that there was like a negative complication I could apply to this, but none of the 3 in the book really do. I mean, I think controlled still applies here. Controlled seems to be the one that we are using the most. So I'll add that complication, and it's a difficulty 6.
Oh, wow. Flight is your ability to move somewhere. So I'm going to definitely employ flight. And then far is the ability to act over distances. And I think what I'm going to do is focus as my that third one that I get because of the positive complication. Because that's my ability to direct and maintain attention or sense and interpret situations. So that's my communication with the bird. Use focus anytime you're trying to notice a detail. So my bird is trying to notice details. So I think those are my 3.
That sounds about right to me. And I think the total number of those stat points and all those metabolisms is greater than 6, right?
Oh, yeah. Focus is 4, flight is 5, and fire is 1. So that's 10.
Yeah, easy. Okay, so your bird takes off, and you guys can see there's a trail behind the bird. It's blue, and it links back to Sadie. What is your bird looking for exactly?
Doors.
So there is a door on the side of the house. It looks to be like a workers or employees entrance. And then at the back of the house, there is a full patio and garden, and there's a door in back there as well. Your bird would see that someone appears to be resting on the grass in the garden, and it's a rock person.
Okay, so I tell you guys, maybe the reason they are not responding to their summoning is because they are laying on the grass behind the house. We could say hi.
Agreed.
Yes, we should. It's always good to greet the owners of a house before you enter. I found from past experience that they tend to not like that very much.
So you guys go on around, and you see this beautiful garden. You can get beyond the low wall pretty easily, and you see right in the middle of the grassy area there is a large, it looks like a series of boulders put into humanoid shape, but as you get closer you realize that this is actually a rock person, like a person made of stones, and they seem to be just staring up at the sky.
Fennis looks up at the sky.
It's just sky.
I feel as if I've lost somehow. He's seeing something that I cannot see.
I was going to ask GM, what color aura does this rock person have?
They have no aura.
No aura at all. Not even one that's slightly translucent like our good friend Ren was?
Correct.
Intriguing. So this person seems to be inflicted with the same condition as poor Barry, who was flung by that tentacle.
Yes.
So
This has really been quite the bonding experience between me and Cartcoon. I must forgive him for what he's done after how useful he's been today. However, I don't know if a rock person could be moved on a cart outside the radius of this enchantment. Would he break the cart? Or she? Would they break the cart? So let's find out. I get a cart. It's like a wheelbarrow because this is a garden, right? So there's a shed. So I go to the shed and I say, knock, knock, because Fennis lives in one. So these are houses.
No response.
Very polite.
Okay, no one's home. I'm going to borrow your 3-legged Cartcoon, and I take the wheelbarrow. Goodbye, spider. And try to put the rock person in the wheelbarrow.
They're incredibly heavy.
This is not easy.
allow me to help you, yes, Sadie.
I will aid as well.
Okay, this is definitely going to be a challenge. I'm going to say this is going to be quite a jump in difficulty. I'm going to say so here's what we'll do. We'll combine all of your guys's trait points from your metabolisms, but if you fail or if you don't get rid of the complications, you will all suffer those same complications. Would you still like to attempt this?
I have plenty of skills, and I'm sure we can find some advantages here. So I'm all in.
Strength.
My character doesn't know what's about to happen to her, so
That's
she's
fair.
in.
All right.
Physical
so
strength is one of Fennis's worst abilities, so obviously he will jump right in and help.
So this is going to be a difficulty 18.
Ooh.
You have the complication strenuous. So that means your spent points for this are not going to be available until after you've rested. You can get rid of this complication by applying a trait or taking your time.
I'd like to apply one of my traits. I'm an outdoorsman. I'm used to this sort of hard labor. So I'd like to remove strenuous.
Okay. Yeah. I think that works.
Let's see, we need 18. I have 5 in fight. And of course, this is going to be strenuous on myself. Using my muscles, that would be fight and self on this harrowing task of lifting this person made of stone into a wheelbarrow. So that's 9. Halfway there. I'm sure we can get another 9 between.
Wouldn't it be 6?
I have 5 in fight and 4 in self.
Oh. Was that from entanglements?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yes, that works then.
I get quite a bit by having 2 points in empower and 2 points in endurance and resistance. In fact, let me look at those styles. Let me look at those entanglements. I might have something that could help in this situation.
Yes,
Perhaps
I'm
not.
looking through them. I've compiled them all into a document, and I've read it twice. Fennis is actually really bad at physical labor. He's just going to have to use his metabolisms.
If you guys are okay with me finding an advantage, so there's 3 things we can do for challenges. We can apply traits, take time, and find advantages. If you have useful help, distracted opponents, just the right tool for the job, the element of surprise, or otherwise can act from a privileged position, you have an advantage. I'm going back to that shed, and I'm getting a lever. Having 1 or more advantages lets you add or remove 1 complication, so I'm going to add satisfying so we can remove all our stress. Not that we have any stress, we're so good at this game, but if we did, it's satisfying to lever this rock person into this wheelbarrow. I use a 2x4, but like bigger, like a 4x6.
Oh, and GM, I was looking through my entanglements. I found one of the core entanglements in power at the beginning of my turn. I'd like to spend 1 point of self, so I'll actually remove one of my selves to enter the empowered state. And wait, would this even matter? Because I'd have to spend 2 in order to get 2. Never mind. This is for when I'm in combat and I need to get something such as far, and I don't have enough points in that.
No worries. So we've got 9 skill points going into this from Bartholomew. We've got the satisfying complication from Sadie. I think Sadie can also... Are you able to also still pull in your metabolism?
Yeah, well, I don't know how group checks work, but are group checks a thing?
We're rolling.
We're inventing group checks.
They're not a thing in this game. We're homebrewing it.
Yeah.
Creator.
Well,
it's nice to have group chat.
Game devs, take notes. We're testing something spectacular that you might want to add.
Yeah, it doesn't say there aren't group checks, right? Does it? We didn't see
No.
that. So, anyways.
I don't recall that at all.
Yeah,
If you're adding, I would, if that's the case, then I would like to add focus as well. And that'd be another 4.
I think each person adds 1 physical and 1 hidden.
Correct. Unless you are somehow able to add the controlled complication, which allows you to add a second metabolism.
Oh, isn't that what Sadie just did?
No, Sadie did satisfying. And so satisfying would remove a point of stress, which would allow you to retain your maximum number of metabolism points.
We haven't had any stressful complications yet, but I just wanted to use a mechanic. I applied it to a situation. It's like giving someone with 10 HP out of 10 another 1 HP. And I was like, yes, I have removed 1 stress from our 0 stress that we had. I was just messing around. I like playtesting thoroughly. I like using all the mechanics. So now I is satisfying. But we have plenty to hit 18 between us because each of us has at least 6. So I was just messing around. Anyway, so I contribute my 6. I don't know, flight and far, because my goal is to get this person in the wheelbarrow far, far away. I want them over there. This is the point of this. You need to get away from this town so you can wake up. And if you don't, I'm just going to leave the town and talk to someone and have them go to sleep and then have them wake up and then talk to you. So you're talking. You're not getting out of this without talking.
And which metabolisms are you going to be contributing, Fennis?
I will be contributing my... Did we say contributing one or both to metabolisms?
One physical and one hidden every time.
So he will be contributing his fight of 3 and his self of 1.
Quit hitting yourself.
And that is all he brings to the table.
You know, that is enough to beat 18, if I can do simple addition. So Fennis and Bartholomew, you both lift the rock person into the cart. Bartholomew, you can't help but feel that Fennis is not doing as much of the lifting as you.
He's doing as much as he can, and I feel his presence here. It's inspiring me. Thank you, Fennis. And I do the last hoist.
And they land with a kutsunk into the wheelbarrow that Sadie is directing. Sadie's a little, I imagine, a little disconcerted being so close to Cartcoon, but with her flight metabolism being used, she's able to steer pretty well the rock person out of Mishui to the group of people that are like a mile out of town. And they wake up and you realize that this is a male rock person. And he wakes up and says, "Well, dear me, how did I end up here? I was just having the most incredible dream."
So I've been pushing him for a mile?
Yeah.
What is your name? Bartholomew Zalvat. Catching his
Fennis is right behind him, like on all fours, just even more exhausted, even though it looks like he did less work. Oh, stars. Oh, I can see it now.
The rock person gets up out of the wheelbarrow and it's like visibly dented where he lay over the edges, and he brushes himself off. And there's like flecks of dust, and notably the dust catches the light. It looks to be copper dust. He brushes himself off and he says, "Whoa, Ashton Tavistock is my name. I'm the Marquess of Mishui. Who are you?"
I'm Fennis Lightwall. And these are my 2 companions. We are members of the Fire-Breathing Kittens. And we have just wheeled you several miles outside of your town on this wheelbarrow.
I don't think
with heroic intentions.
I'm having a hard time remembering my name with everything going on in that town. I'm sure my dear friend here can help me. And I huddle Sadie next to myself real quietly so no one else can hear. I do not see the copper filament powder on that gentleman's coat. Perhaps you could persuade him in some way. You seem to be very good at that. To give us information. I have a feeling of foul play. Perhaps he might have stolen that object.
Well, I wouldn't want to brew it, but I'll beseech him for information. So, I assume Bartholomew was talking to me.
Yes.
Yep.
Asking you politely, maybe you could interrogate him for information. Perhaps, maybe it wasn't stolen. Maybe it was retrieved. Maybe it was, I'm not sure. That's why I give it to you.
Sir, Upon you, Raymond, there is a golden powder.
Oh. Oh, I suppose so. What of it?
Is that normal?
Do you know where it came from?
Oh, I suppose. No, it's not normal. And trying to think back to it, right before I started having my wonderful dream, I remember, yes, somebody came up and hit me with a big stick.
Sir, that does not sound comfortable in the slightest.
No, now that I'm
I do believe you've been
remembering
the
it,
victim of a crime, my friend.
indeed, it seems like it. At the time, I really just, well, as you can see from my form, I am quite sturdy. Normally, things like that don't really bother me. But this time it felt strangely painful.
This town has been besieged by some strange power. Bartholomew thinks back on, I believe it was, who was the one, is it just an unknown villager who tossed that wheelbarrow over to cart out Barry? Or was it someone, all I remember is Bartholomew remembers that someone, he could see the aura assisting in throwing the wheelbarrow.
That
So
was
we can
Ren
imagine.
earlier.
That was Ren earlier?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, that was quite a feat. I feel it's more going on in this town with these auras and this associative experience. It's not only causing people to walk in their dreams and fall into comas, and it's also causing people to have these strange empowered moments of feats of strength and endurance and all sorts of things. So it might make sense that you would feel quite a lot of pain from someone exerting that force onto you through that stick. I can imagine. But do you recall? Go ahead.
As Bartholomew is saying, quite a lot of strange things are happening in this town. If we had not happily stumbled upon you, you could have lain there for quite a long time. Are your loved ones safe? Or were you the only one in danger?
Esther! My wife, Esther! I didn't see her in the dream, and I haven't seen her since I got hit with that stick. She was in the manor doing some flower arranging and trying to get more commissions for our special saddles.
Special saddles? In what way were these saddles special?
Well, they are featherlight saddles. They allow very heavy beings such as I and Esther to ride upon horses as though we weighed as light as a feather.
Ashton tells the people who moved him for miles.
Yes.
These must be some very incredible saddles. I'm pretty sure I saw the light of the other side for a moment.
Please, you have to go back and find Esther. Here, I will give you the key to my manor. Reaches into his coat pocket, and the key is very heavily dusted with copper as well, and holds it out for anybody to take.
We can't see auras out here can we?
Correct.
I'll hold on to this key, and as we enter the town, I'd like to keep an eye on the aura of this key if it has one.
Okay. So you guys head on back?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As you make your way back to the manor, Bartholomew, you see that this key also turns jet black in aura.
I'm very perturbed holding on to this, but I don't feel any different. Wait, Jim, do I feel any different?
No, not
No,
that
it's
you're
just-
aware of.
But it is disturbing. As you can see, this is the exact same aura that I saw on that filament back in the closet. So,
Gia, out of curiosity, I have one of the entanglements I have is Analyze Cascade at the
okay.
second rank. Would that apply for the key?
It definitely does thematically. I'm not sure if there's a mechanic for it, but why don't you... So I'm going to set a challenge for this. Why don't you add up your stats? The difficulty number is going to be 10. I don't know if you can make it with your current stats, but it's going to be 10. And there's going to be a risky complication. So you're going to have to roll dice equal to your point numbers instead of adding up your points. So this is a very difficult thing you're trying to do. It's an unknown item with unknown power, and you're putting yourself at risk to try and analyze it.
Player, this is a great chance to use the push mechanic.
Of course. What is that mechanic again?
We're going to walk you through the steps of Cascade Effect. First, you're going to look at your physical body and your hidden body, and you're going to pick 2 of the 6 things available to you, 1 from each one. Go for the ones with the highest numbers, and then justify them. So let's hear that first.
Okay. So highest right now is focus and near. I have 1 less point in each of those because I used them before. So I suppose...
No, you don't, because it wasn't strenuous. We got rid of strenuous.
Oh, okay.
Bartholomew got rid of strenuous, so it's at maximum points.
Okay. So then I have 5 focus and 2 near. Mainly because, he's focusing in on this key that is very near to him.
In Bartholomew's hands, and you're staring deeply, intently into it.
He's very interested in the key.
Oh man, you don't even need to push. So if you can now do one of these 3 things, if you can apply a trait, take your time, or find an advantage, then you can add the positive complication of controlled and add one of your other traits to bring your total up to, or one of your other, what are they called, metabolisms, to bring your total up to 10. And then you would pass. But so risky means that you're going to be rolling dice. So...
And there's a 50% chance that you're not going to succeed on the dice, because in order for it to count as a point of progress on the dice, it has to be a 4 or higher. Mm-hmm. So you have 50% chance of it not actually counting towards your progress, which is the number of stat points to pass.
You got to fail before you can push. So let's do that.
Let me just try something right away. So one of the traits that Fennis has is that he's a bookworm. Like he just he likes to read just random books in his spare time. Would anything about this key be something that he might have heard about or read about, like in passing?
I will say that if you want to apply a trait, you can use that to get rid of the risky complication, because you definitely would know about some of this. Like it's starting to ping a memory of something you read. So you no longer have to roll dice. So now you can use the points you want. Is that equal to 10? Do you have the controlled complication? Did you put that on?
No, we have not put that the positive complication on yet.
You would need to apply a trait, find an advantage, or take your time to apply another positive complication, such as controlled, which would let you add a 3rd metabolism thing.
So could it potentially be something I could apply as an advantage that I have seen something like this once with the filigree that we first saw in the closet?
Yes, I'll say that's an advantage. You have existing evidence, I should say, that can link the 2 together, or that you can use to corroborate information. So, at the start of counting progress for Fennis, we have the controlled complication. We've gotten rid of the risky complication. And now, which points are you using from which metabolisms? Because you have to beat a 10.
Okay, so...
Oh, and by the way, I remember, you can do group checks. You just can't do applying traits, finding advantage, and taking a time from more than one person, right? Like, see, we read the rules. They're just, we're first time playing. But like one person could do one and another person could do another.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that.
We kind of got it. We got it a little bit.
We're getting there.
So I'm just thinking here, because if I were to, even with 3 stats, I'm not sure I could reach 11. So his focus is 5.
You need 10. So you need to meet or beat 10.
Okay, 10. So his focus is 5 and his near is 2. So I am 3 short. But even with the only other stat that would be able to apply here that would actually help is fight or flight. Not sure exactly how I would apply that to examining a key.
Well, I could imagine that we're in a hurry because it seems time is of the essence. We had someone that was attacked, and now this person was attacked as well. We're in danger. We need to flight. We need to hurry back. I'm holding this key and running backwards as fast as I can while you stare at it to figure out what it is.
I'll take that.
Oh, great. Yes, I am. The pressure is on, and I want to show off some of my knowledge. So I am using flight as well, which is 4. So that, I believe, puts me at 11.
Yes. So, Fennis, as you all are rushing back towards the town of Mishui, you're looking at the piece of filigree that Bartholomew has, and you're looking at the key. You realize that you have heard in the past of, and this is like in the way past, like back when copper was still like a very precious metal, right? This used to be known as like magical or powerful metal. A lot of older civilizations speak of metals having their own properties and magical properties especially. You realize, as you're thinking through this and seeing the similarities between the dust on the key, which is giving it this aura, and the fragment of filigree, that this copper dust is incredibly old and very magical. It's almost like the magical properties are imbued upon the metal itself. And you have a very good idea that the filigree is part of a larger item. That item is most likely causing this occurrence. And from literature you've read, the only way to destroy a magical property like this is to completely melt it down to where it doesn't have like the same form that it does. You can't break down an element, like copper is an element. You can't break it down, but you can mix it with things, or you can break it apart in different ways. But you think that mixing it with something else would mess with the properties enough to where this effect on the town would disappear.
Interesting. That could work very well with my alter material ability.
Oh, and one more thing to note is that a lot of the literature you've read about these kinds of items come from old civilizations around the Fumui Dunes.
The Fumui Dunes. Interesting. Well, everyone, I believe I have stumbled upon something. Whatever this aura is connected to, this filigree especially, is... I'll just say that Fennis explains all that.
Right.
I'm not in the mindset to be able to summarize all of it.
Totally fair. Yep. So key information is, if you want to dispel this magical property, you have to change the material component. That is probably going to be achieved by mixing it with a different element or material. And that this is possibly something from like very long ago.
The mention when you were explaining everything and got to the details of the Fumui Dunes and how it has to do with properties and just recollections of items being cursed and being linked to these manners that are linked to these objects that are being brought into these towns and cursed. Bartholomew shoots up and he says, we need to get to the bottom of this straight away. This definitely is a lead to something to the curse that plagues my town. Need to know what this weird creature is. This weird cotton candy creature. Put a stop to it.
Admittedly, I am still in the process of trying to figure out exactly how cotton candy mixes with ancient civilization, curses and powerful artifacts and all that, but perhaps the cotton candy monster can explain.
But how do we change its properties?
Well, as it happens, I am quite familiar when it comes to changing the, I'll say, structure of things. I suppose, I have not mentioned it yet, have I? I'm an alchemist by trade. Well, not by trade. I'm an alchemist teacher by trade. Or formerly, long story. Anyway, I have some experience with it.
Well, good to know. You're the man for the job. Let's
I
go.
have the two abilities, and saying as a player, I have the two entanglements both at second rank, condense matter and transmute matter.
Okay, very nice. So hopefully that'll prove useful as you guys enter the Tavistock Manor. You see that the place is completely wrecked. You see another rock person in the central room. You assume this is Esther. And standing over her, panting as though exhausted, is a young woman in her early 20s. Her hair is long and colored with pink highlights, and she's holding a long copper scepter with what looks like filigree at the head of it, although there is a piece of that filigree missing. And there is a pastel pink aura surrounding her and a black aura surrounding the scepter. And as you all enter, she looks to you and says, "How did you get in here?"
We walked through the front door?
We had a key.
But I thought, never mind. Just leave here. It'll be better off for you if you just go.
Well, I'm normally the kind of person who would just let people carry on about their business. Something is telling me that what I'm currently witnessing is some form of crime. So could I please ask you to stop?
GM, I'd like to... go ahead and resolve that, and then I have a question.
Better ask your question first.
Okay. I have a feature, or not a feature, a trait called inspiration. And I can let me find what it says, how inspiration works exactly. It'd be very nice in this very moment, seeing this large pink aura. So for inspiration, ideas just seem to come to you out of thin air. Once per scene, you can ask the GM for advice about the situation. So this pink aura, is this... Well, I can't really ask for an answer, but I imagine this is a dangerous person. So should we jump for cover?
You can choose to either jump for cover or I guess do a first move sort of thing. She definitely looks aggressive, and as Fennis has said, it looks like there's been a crime. She looks terrified, as though realizing that if she hit this person, then she definitely is committing a crime. But then just lashes out. So given your inspiration, you can choose what you do before we go into combat.
I'm going to jump behind cover and draw my musket.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure there's some sofa or furniture that I can prop myself up behind.
Absolutely. You're behind a toppled end table.
Mm-hmm. But I have plenty of danger sense, so I'm definitely able to read the room and immediately, set the stage.
Perfect. So we're going to set up initiative. So the way combat works is that we're going to set up initiative. We'll take turns using metabolism or not using metabolism. And then once everyone has spent a turn not using metabolism, a new round will resolve. We'll refill some metabolism points and then start again. So initiative is actually a challenge. It requires you to use the metabolism of focus, and it is a risky and strenuous challenge. So that means you have to use the dice to count your progress, and the points that you spend on this are no longer available. So I think this means you can choose how many points you use. If you use all of your focus points to be first in initiative, that means you can't refill those focus points until the round has resolved.
Can you choose to spend 0?
I think you
Yes.
can choose to spend 0.
It's called pass, and you can actually restore some of your spent metabolism to regenerate extra at the end of a round. Not for determining an initiative.
Can we choose not to spend any to determine initiative?
I don't see why you can't. Yeah, you can do 0.
So, what are the 2 that we roll initiative for? I'm looking. I can't remember where it is.
So for initiative, you have to roll a number of dice equal to the points that you're spending. So for example, your opponent will be using 4 focus points. And so I'm going to roll 4d6. If there are 2 of those d6s that are 4 or greater, that means I have 2 points in initiative.
I see.
That also means I don't get any of those 4 focus points back.
I'm going to roll. I have an entanglement called priority, and I can actually roll for 2 turns. I have to roll initiative for each one. So I'm going to roll for my first one being 2 in flight and 1 in far to get myself behind cover. That's as far away as possible behind some furniture. And then I'm going to roll, I will say, 1 fight and 2 focus. So because after I've jumped behind cover, I'm now in the fray. I'm focused and I'm ready to fight. So that's 2 in flight. I'm going to go in.
Cool. Fennis, Sadie, what are you guys choosing to do? Sadie, it sounds like you're not going to spend any points.
Correct.
Cool.
I'm assuming I'm going to survive the first hit.
Probably.
I will go a similar route to Sadie and use 2 points from flight.
GM, I have used my points and I rolled 2 successes on the first one and 1 success on the second one.
Okay. So you're actually going to be going first on the first turn and then I think first again because as much as I rolled 4 dice, I only got 1 success. So your opponent, so it's going to be in turn order, Bart, and then your opponent, and then Fennis and Sadie.
Right. For my first attack, first I'll spend a free action to empower myself. This is what I'm using it for. I don't use self for fighting, but I do use self for empowering myself and psyching myself up, especially going against those undead hordes at my hometown. Something I'm used to. I steal myself, spending a self as a free action, and I spend another self to give myself 2 points, progress points, and I'll be rolling to attack using fight and far. So I would be rolling what I have, correct? And then I'd also add 2. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I believe so. Yeah. So every attack is also risky and strenuous. So you can try and add traits or advantage to try and get rid of those complications, I think.
Well, I do have the traits Cavalier, Marksman, and Musket. Oh, for a non-restricted weapon. I don't know if I could use either of those. I could use Cavalier, Marksman, I'm sure.
Yeah, Marksman, I think.
What are the complications? Strenuous?
Risky, yeah, and strenuous.
Risky and I'm going to remove strenuous, but I will keep risky and make those rolls. I have quite a bit, actually. And let's see. Could I count, if this is going to be a shot from my musket, I imagine it's going to be a shot in a line. Could I also shoot that rod that is emitting that aura?
Oh, yeah, you can do that. That's a good idea.
I have an entanglement called Pierce. Targets can't benefit from cover, and all targets in the threat of line attack take the full threat damage. So whatever I roll, they both take that damage. I'll be doing that.
Awesome.
So with this roll, it's 10d6.
Wow.
So that's
Hot
7.
dog. 7. Okay, so each point is a point of threat. So she's going to try and defend herself. She definitely can't. I don't think she can defend against that much, but she's going to use her flight stat to try and react and defend as much as possible. So she was able to defend against 2 of that threat. So that's a total of 5, correct?
Yes.
That is a hefty shot, Bartholomew. She is holding out the scepter as though to attack you. And when you fire your shot, it goes straight through the filigree crown, knocking off more pieces of it, and then into her shoulder. She rears back with a cry. That was pretty good.
And you say I get another turn immediately after?
That is what your entanglement does, right?
Yes. After I see her rear back and I see her holding out that scepter, without even loading my gun, I step up, pull out my tomahawk, and I throw it at that scepter. This time just targeting the scepter. Now I see that thing is what's more than likely causing all of this. And this won't be a straight shot through. This will just be targeting it. So I'll also be, let's see, since it wasn't strenuous, I still have those points up. That means, let's see. I'll also, it's the same turn. So it says to any action. So I don't have that +2, but this is still, it'll be 8.
Oh, there's no way that's being blocked.
Oh.
You throw.
I didn't roll. I rolled 8 dice, but I got 2 successes.
Oh, okay. So I was going to say, like, wow, 8 threat. That's a lot. So you throw your tomahawk directly at the scepter and it shears off the entire crown. As it does that, you can see the aura explodes upward, almost like it's like a firework or a sparkler. And the aura, part of the aura breaks off and follows the filigree crown as it tink, tink, tink rolls away across the floor. What a hefty turn you've done, Bartholomew, and combat's only just begun.
He's used to this adrenaline-packed action back where he's from. Quick
Very
thinking
nice.
and precision.
So let's see. Your opponent lets out a frustrated shriek. She doesn't have a whole lot of fight. So what she ends up doing is she uses her fight metabolism and her far metabolism, and you can see coming from her other arm is a long tentacle, and it goes to swipe at you. I'll say she has the trait determined, so that's going to get rid of the risky complication. And yeah, I don't think there's anything else because she's already exhausted, so I don't think it's going to take away the strenuous, but it's at least going to take away the risky. And so she's going to use all 4 points against you. Would you like to mitigate that threat? So it's 4 points of threat.
Let's see. I choose how to mitigate. Let me take a look here. I've got a metabolism that allows me to.
Would you like some help?
Yes. What am I spending to resist extra?
When attacked, you can react outside of your turn to reduce the threat you take. To do so, do a strenuous, which means that when you spend points, they're gone, but not risky, which means that you don't have to roll. Each point you spend is a point of progress. Challenge that requires the pairing of flight and the same hidden metabolism used by the attack. GM, what hidden metabolism was used by this attack?
Far.
So you're going to pair flight and far, and it's not risky, so like the number that you have is the number that you progress, right? But they are gone because it's strenuous. So when you use them, they are spent. When you do, any remaining... so each point of progress lowers the threat by 1. Any remaining threat then becomes stress that you must split up between the involved metabolisms, and stress reduces your maximum by 1. So for example, you had 5, you spent 3, and all the threat went away completely. Or you had 2, and you spent 1 of them, and your maximum was reduced from 5 to 4. But you still have 1 left. So, like, you got some choices. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you, Sadie.
Welcome.
I do appreciate your wisdom. So I'm going to, and I do have danger sense, and I have quite a bit. One of them, I'm going to use flight and far, and that's 9 total. So I'm easily able to resist that. I'm going to take 2 away from from flight, and I'll mark that down. Oh, wait. No, actually, no, because I already have 2 away from flight. I'm actually going to take 2 away from far.
And be careful with them, their hidden metabolisms, because if they hit 0, you can dissociate.
Actually, I'm going to take 1 from far and 1 from flight.
Good call. Good call.
Unless you have
I've got 1
dissociation
flight.
resistance, like, for example, you're possessing a body.
Who would
But
be
with
doing that?
But with my danger sense, since I spent that, my first point of far spent for reacting, I get 3 progress, I believe, on my next roll.
Wow. Okay.
Produces 3 progress.
Awesome. So that is really good. She lashes out at Bartholomew, but it's like the red aura around him forms a shield and the tentacle is battered away and Bartholomew is unscathed.
Oh, GM, I actually believe that now that I'm reading Danger Sense, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spend 1 point on far, and that gives me 3 progress. I believe it adds 3 progress to this challenge. So
yeah, so you're just totally totally unaffected then.
Yes, but I still had to spend 1 far at least.
Correct.
What I'm saying is I spent 1 far and didn't have to spend anything else because I got an extra 3, and it was 2 that I had to reach.
Perfect.
Okay. I'm learning this system. This is fun.
Yeah, the combat's a little interesting. Sadie and Fennis, it's up to you to decide who wants to go first. The opponent is very clearly exhausted physically. The aura looks like it's wavering. A couple good hits will either get her unconscious or dissociated.
Well, I would say, Sadie, why don't you go first? Because Fennis is having a little trouble following the combat.
All right. I'm going to use this example on page 18. So in a combat where you start with 6 fight. So I start with 4 fight and are going to fight somebody. The round flows like this. At the start of the round, everyone regains half their used metabolism points. Sweet. I'm at max. Next step. I use some of my fight on the attacks and the remainder is left. So I've got 4. I'm honestly just going to use all 4 down to 0. This is not a hidden metabolism, so I am not at risk of dissociating if I spend it all. And I'm dissociatively resistant, cough, cough. So next, the enemy spends probably most of their fight. And my ally spends fight if they want. You don't have to. So I'm going to inhale action, nothing, because I have no hidden points. Exhale action, fight. So what that looks like is my bird... This is what 4 points gets me. My bird is like, caw-caw! And my bird is like, I hate crowns, and flies up in the air. And then if you've ever seen a Zapdos like lightning bolt attack, my bird is like, see that crown? Zap! And like zaps the crown. But not like, this is kind of cool. My bird is a summon. So instead of attacking the physical crown, the bird is attacking the black aura, like stamping on an inky spider. And it's not a physical attack. It's like when you put on 3D glasses and like you see the world. I love that art style where it's like purple line above and green line below. And you can like, it's like, you know, you're looking between the planes. And so my lightning bird is attacking the other crown.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the crown itself, I'll say the aura itself has a threat mitigation of 1. So it has an armor of 1. But given the damage it's already taken, it's not enough to save it from destruction. So what happens is that Sadie's bird flies out and does its lightning attack. And you can see the blue of Sadie's aura suffusing that of the black aura of the scepter. And it gets brighter and brighter and brighter, crackling like electricity until it bursts apart. It's like the lightning gets into the core of the aura and disintegrates it. And you can see the aura completely dissipates. And there's almost 1,000 whales that dissipate with it. And
Whoa.
the scepter crumbles into dust.
That's so cool.
But the woman is still there, and like she shrieked before in frustration, but now she's just totally on a rant. It's almost like she is now very close to dissociating herself.
Don't let her go, Fennis. If she escapes, she can't get punished / we can't understand what's happening.
That's me every day. I would never want to inflict that on someone else. So then it is my turn now?
Correct?
Okay. So the first thing I want to say is one of the abilities that I have is for entropic combat. And essentially it just means that, to my understanding of it, that normally you touch a target and it begins to destabilize or decay at an atomic level. But since I have 2 ranks in it, I can apply it as long as they're within range, which is
Okay.
equal to my ranks in the entanglement plus 1, which is 2. So the range is 3.
I'd say she's definitely within 3 meters of you.
Okay. And entropic attacks deal a point of stress to all physical metabolisms immediately upon being applied. And any strenuous challenges that the target attempts while affected is upgraded to stressful.
Oh boy.
Or is also stressful. Yep. Fennis is a master at inflicting stress on others.
So you use that. What does it look like? What are you doing to inflict stress upon her?
So what Fennis does in particular is that he's acting on instinct because he is not a fighter at heart, but he's had some lessons drilled into him when he was very young. So he will just go for something on his belt, which has just so many random rocks and materials and chemicals, and just fling one right at her.
So it hits her square in the chest, and you can't tell if it's from exactly what was in the bottle or if it's just the shock of it, but she ends up collapsing to the floor and just crying. She doesn't have the strength anymore to get up and keep going. So we're out of combat. Very nicely done.
So if I'm to understand what that combat was, is that Bartholomew had a hefty first turn of shooting twice at a monster coming out of the scepter, and then Sadie had her birdie
Yes, my birder. My bird that murders.
come out and just annihilate, destroy this jet black evil aura, and then Fennis, always quick on the uptake, threw a bottle of unknown liquid at a seemingly defenseless woman.
Yep, that's about right.
And she just sat down and started crying.
Classic fire-breathing kittens, if we're being real here.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, now I just feel bad.
So as the combat comes to a close, the remains of the scepter have floated away into dust, and the auras around you begin to fade until they no longer surround you. You don't see any more auras around the town of Mishui, and this woman is very clearly distraught but poses no threat anymore.
Well, Fennis notices the aura disappearing, and he turns to the other two and says, I think we all just died, everyone. My aura's gone.
I don't believe that. I believe it's not that we died. We lived, and we succeeded in ridding this town of this curse. Now, you there, the one responsible for all this, pointing at the girl that's crying and being a bully, I'm going to need you to tell me what you were doing here. Explain yourself.
Yeah, explain yourself. And don't worry, Fennis, this is not what dying feels like. Explain yourself.
Oh, what an unsettling statement to make.
So this woman is crying, and through her tears, she says, I just wanted to be strong. I got this stupid thing from a pirate in Jishop, and he said it would make me powerful, but he didn't know what he was talking about. This whole thing is ruined, and those things were talking to me, and I hurt so many people.
You also gave some of them really nice dreams.
What's the
That's a
point of
positive way to
dreams if
look
they
at it.
don't come true?
Now Bartholomew kind of wrings his neck a bit, feeling a bit guilty, and then realizes, are you Kahona Estrada?
Yeah, I'm Kono.
I can see what's been happening here. Don't blame yourself. You've just been trying to do the right thing and made some unfortunate decisions. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. But
Oh, she just keeps crying.
Now, I understand that this piece of information might not be particularly relevant, but I feel it prudent to say you had better wipe off that chemical that I had thrown at you, because that has a history of causing internal hemorrhaging, abraded flesh, and decaying bones from extended exposure.
She immediately just like takes off every piece of clothing that has it on and like wraps herself in a spare cloak.
before we head out, may I examine this crown artifact thing that the pirate apparently gave her? I believe it's been the magic that was encased in it is gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can take a look.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Take a look.
definitely old now. It's so brittle that most of it has fallen away to dust, and you can just see the barest skeleton of what it used to be. If you'd like to find more information, let's call it one last difficulty challenge. This is going to be a pretty high difficulty, and you've already used some of your points, so you can't use those because of combat. But I'm going to make this a difficulty 12. So like someone who's an expert in this stuff would have to put in some effort to figure this out.
Push, push, push.
But maybe
push.
you can
Any
find a push.
complications?
Yeah, you can push yourself. No complications.
No complications. Well,
Use your push. Use your push. Also known as this player wants to use all the mechanics of a game. Pushing yourself is on page 15.
would I be able to find an advantage here? Actually, I know exactly how to find an advantage. There was something I wanted to do before doing this check, and I would like to ask Kohono, where exactly did you find this pirate fellow that gave you this?
He was just carting off treasure. Apparently there's like some shipwreck off the coast of Jishop where he got a lot of stuff and he was showing it off, and I thought it was pretty and asked it for it, and he gave it to me because it said it gave him weird vibes or something.
Quite.
It's like his I don't know, like his magical hand just like didn't like it or something. They weren't compatible.
So with that advantage, I give myself,
Cute.
I add controlled to add another.
Okay.
So originally I'm using focus and self. I'm holding the thing in my hand, so that's a total of 8. And now with the addition of this new information, this advantage, I'm thinking as much information as I have learned. Jishop is where exactly? It's near the Fire Breathing Kittens headquarters?
No,
No.
it's on. So pictures the tip of South Africa. Nicomoy's on the east. Jishop is a bigger city. It's on the west.
Okay. I have read some articles here in Nicomoy about Jishop during my time here, learning about the current events and relationships between the two towns. I know a bit of it, and it's very far away. Well, not very far away, but far away enough that I would use my far to add to this challenge. So that's 4 from focus, 4 from self, and 5 from far. That would be after. I wouldn't be able to do it normally, but since I would be pushing myself, I believe I have to roll for it, correct?
I think so.
If you use push, then it automatically adds risky.
So is the order of this that you're like doing something to add controlled and that's how you're using 3 metabolisms? Because pushing comes after you've finalized all the complications,
Correct.
Counted your progress, and then failed.
Correct.
So can you walk us through in order what you're doing?
I'd have to push after you'd have to push. So I'm trying to add the complication controlled using advantage, and I would add far. So with what I have left, I have 3 in far, 2 in self, and 2 in focus. That's 7. That's 5 short. So
Right.
now I have to push myself. So when I push myself, all that regenerates, and then do I keep the positive complication? But it becomes risky.
Correct.
Right. Do I re-roll 6s? I believe we do. I'm not sure.
Yes.
6s explode.
I haven't been re-rolling my 6s. So that first shot, it would have probably been more, but that's fine. So now I'm going to roll that. 13. One above what I need. Cross my fingers, I roll plenty of 6s and good re-rolls. Oh, that's not good. I've got 4 successes, and I rolled 2 6s. See if I get a bunch of 6s. Nope, I've got 6 total. I was halfway there, unfortunately. Off the
This
tip of my
allows
tongue.
you to spend up to double what your metabolisms would normally allow. So you're adding it to your previous value.
Oh, okay.
No. So the
Thank you.
thing you got now, the number of progresses that you claim now, you're adding it to your previous number.
I see. So,
You were
thank
5 short.
That would 1, 2, 3, and I rolled. Sadie, you're a genius. Thank you. That was rather satisfying. Then I'm loving this system. It's got a lot of complicated rules, but once you get the hang of it, it's very satisfying and really cool. I love it.
Yeah. And as your reward for using the push mechanic, you are able to investigate this and you realize you've seen something like this before. It's definitely old. It's like something you've seen in a museum or something. And you realize that there were a whole bunch of museum artifacts. You remember hearing about this in the news in Nicomoy. There is a boat that was taking them from some place that had excavated them from the Famui Dunes or bought them at bazaars and things like that. And they were taking it by boat over to Jishop, but that boat had shipwrecked and capsized. And so apparently, from the make of this and as it crumbles into dust, it's well, this is just one artifact from there. There are probably others. And this pirate, whoever he is, might have more.
Very peculiar. I remember hearing stories from and getting leads from the Nicomoy Museum of Natural History talking about these current events going on, about my trying to follow leads to the Famui Dunes from my previous adventures. I see. There was a ship going to, well, I'm not going to repeat it, GM, you already said it. I'm quite intrigued, and now I want to go learn more and explore this ship and see if I can have a word with that pirate fellow.
Perfect. Well, you guys have saved the town of Mishui, and everyone's so thankful. The Marquess and Marquioness, the rulers, the leaders of Mishui, give you each $1,000 and a fully paid week-long vacation for any time at all in Mishui.
Ooh, I want to go to the waterfall.
Wow.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We had Bartholomew Salvador,
Yes, this is quite a fulfilling experience tonight.
Fennis Lightwall,
I'm a little disappointed I never got to taste the cotton candy monster.
And Sadie Duca.
Sadie looks around at the staff and at the shards that have dispersed and is like, give me a sec. She like rips apart reality just a little bit, reaches through and pulls through a cotton candy tentacle and hands it to Fennis.
Fennis is very excited. Oh, Sadie, you're an angel.
Not anymore. Bye.
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 It's that part of the show where we tell you about a podcast you might enjoy. Have you heard of Reframables? Two very different sisters, one artist/entrepreneur, one teacher/philosopher, work through some of their lives' biggest hurdles through conversations with artists, thinkers, and creators who are doing that work in the world. Aiming to better themselves and the world they love through art and philosophy, humor and lived experience, the sisters and their guests offer bite-sized reframables for their audience to chew on long after each episode has ended. Check out Reframables, a podcast.